Not to get too far into my backstory.
Yeah, let's do
I
it. We always start
Yeah.
with like a background. So
All
let's
right.
do that.
Uh, we could. I guess the best way to do it is to start at the beginning, as most
Sure.
stories go. I randomly managed to buy a bar when I was 21 years old. Like, no clue. I was in my last year of college. My dad had come across a little bit of extra money. I ended up partnering with my two sisters, and I ran a place for like 9 years. A little hole in the wall bar, gross sales just about $500,000 a year, pretty average. Um, and after 8.5 years, our lease came up, bad lease deal, had a handshake, got screwed. That's the long and short of it. I ended up continuing to bartend at like, now I work at three different locations, kind of like independent. I
Okay.
don't have a full time job, particularly anywhere. One place I work 30 hours, another place I work between 20 and 25 hours, another place I only work one shift a week. And they're three really unique locations. One place is like a pretty
You
popular
want to say the
gastro.
you want to say the
Like,
names of them just so people
yeah,
can.
sure. I work at a place in Peekskill called Birdsall House. I work at another place in Peekskill called Kyle's Pub, and a place in Montrose, New York, which is just down the road, called Folgham's Pub, which is the owner's last name. Um, the gastro pub, good estimate, probably $2 million a year in sales, gross sales. Um, the Kyle's Pub, probably a little 500,000 plus. Again, local place, one person. You do a lot of your cooking. You handle your own grilling and stuff like that. Very small, limited menu, and
Right.
then Fulgham's local pub, probably $1 million a year in sales. So that gives you an idea of the strata that I'm working with in the different locations. But anyway,
Mhm.
that happened about 11 years ago when I lost the bar, 28, 29, 30, something like it was more like 30, so 10 years ago. And
Okay.
I was kind of just like half-assing it. I had just got married. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I was like, no, I'll just keep doing this. I already got my college degree. I have my business management degree. So it seems like I'm doing all right. And I was making like real money. Like people think about bartenders and they're like, oh, what are you going to get your real job? I'm like, well, I probably make double what you make. So
Right.
I was spending money. I was being flashy with it, got myself the new truck and did it. And then I kind of had that epiphany moment that we all have where it was like, oh, by the way, you're getting friggin' divorced. And
Okay.
so that kind of clicked on like, all right, so what should I have done 10 years ago to put myself in a better position now? And
Okay. So
that's
you
kind
got
of the,
reflective. Wow. Okay. That's not,
it,
you said like it happens to everybody, but okay, like the first part happens to a lot of people, but the second part doesn't happen to a lot of people, where you get reflective and are thinking about what you could have done 10 years ago, you know?
yeah, it was
I don't know.
not it was not a like an avalanche moment where it was like aha. I think it was a lot of micro steps. There was a lot there. I ain't gonna lie, man. When I first got divorced, I was a mess, like a
Right.
plain old mess. A lot of people go into a deep dark spin and they don't come out of it. I was pretty lucky in the regards that I had a good support group. I had a lot of friends that helped me, and I kind of was a friend to myself after a little bit of abuse, and thankfully didn't make any big bad mistakes. Didn't get myself, didn't go and get myself shacked up with the wrong person or get myself arrested or get in any bar
Right.
fights. Like I did a lot of reading. I don't even have a TV anymore. Like I got rid of that. I read a lot of books, which again, now that you say that, sounds more uncommon than you'd think, but it seemed like the right path for me at the time.
Yeah.
So, and one of the most important things you do is your job, your career. So I
Hmm.
was like, I should probably get better at this too. And that's where the focus of figuring out what would help other people started to develop, I guess.
Okay.
It's my best
And
way of
just,
putting it.
and your age at this point was, you said it
I,
was like
I
around 30?
early 30s, yeah, early to mid 30s.
Okay.
Um, and I just turned 40 now, so last 5 6 years. So there was a brief shining moment in time, like 3 4 years, where like I was doing it all. I was married. We were buying a house. We had cats. We hadn't really talked about kids. Thankfully, now that we're divorced, we didn't have kids, which makes
Yeah.
divorce quite a bit easier. Um, Bought a new car. We went to Europe. We went to Iceland. Like, and she was a career bartender too, and still is, as far as I know. We don't really talk anymore. Um, so we were making really good money, just living like rock stars.
Totally.
And but even rock stars have retirement accounts, and
Right.
and we didn't.
Yeah.
So I, I guess, yeah, I guess that's kind of just where I'm at now. Is I've really just been focusing. I got a lot of people that come to me as a bartender that ask me for advice. Obviously, this is part and parcel of what we do. But I have a lot of bartenders that come to me for advice. Younger people and even people that are a little bit older. And I found, by and large, I have a lot to offer them, and I have a
Yeah.
lot that they're willing to listen to. And I'm not sure it's the right advice, or even if it's like going to put them on the right track, but like it can't hurt. At
They're not
least
getting
I,
advice anywhere else. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like when I was
that
bartending, there was nothing. Like they were old. Like they were the older guys who were working at the bar where I was working at. But it's just like this is not where I want to be in
yeah,
10 or 15 years. Like these
well,
guys are smoking a pack a day and drinking until they like can't stand up straight every night.
yeah, and they're waking up in the morning, and they're getting, the bar opens at 11. They get there at 10:30 to do their setup, cut their lemons, cut their limes, and they pour themselves an 8-ounce pilsner just to take the edge off.
Totally.
And it's not really a judgment per se, but it's not really. I got a 50-year-old, 52-year-old bar owner. Doesn't matter. That's not what I want at 52.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
how can I set myself up to, you know, uh, not be that? I'm
Yeah.
not. But I guess I don't know what I want to be, but I don't want to be that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's one way you arrive at like a decision, process of elimination. You don't want to be that. That gets you a long way. Like that is a big option in the industry for sure. Very common. Burned out,
Yeah,
like drunk,
I mean,
having a
and
terrible time.
I've been doing it 20 years now. It'll be 19 years. It'll be 20 years. I guess we bought the bar. It was June 1st. June, like actually.
Okay, so this
Yeah,
is today's May 30th.
yeah.
So 2 days from
Wow,
now.
that's wow. That was two. Yeah, wow, man. So 19 years ago tomorrow. That's crazy. I literally just realized that. And what's even crazier is like 2 months later, or that month I was graduating from college. So like it
Yeah.
all kind of happened at the same time for me. Um,
God.
yeah,
I couldn't
wow.
imagine owning a bar after like upon graduating from college. That sounds
I was
like crazy.
I was an absolute train wreck, but I was not afraid, and I'm still not afraid to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Like that doesn't bother me.
Hmm.
I As it is right now, my average work week is probably like 60 hours a week, but a dozen of those hours are actually in the kitchen. I cook too.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
I like to keep my skills fresh. I'm not culinarily trained. I don't have like any like wild things to offer, but I make a killer Philly cheesesteak. And I know it sounds like a stupid like thing to be proud of, but I make like the best grilled cheese in our area.
Nice.
I know that sounds so stupid, but like nobody can touch my grilled cheese. People come from towns away just to have my grilled cheese. I know that
Is
sounds
that
so
something I
stupid.
can ask you about, or is that like a
Yeah,
secret
yeah.
close to the
No,
breast?
there's no secret, man. We just get like really good uh, Pepperidge Farm bread. I use whatever salted butter is on sale that week, but we use
Okay.
Boar's Head yellow American cheese, 6 slices. I toast it real slow. It takes about 12 minutes to make the perfect grilled cheese. Comes out golden brown. It's so melty, like 2 slices of cheese like fall off and land on the
Nice.
plate, and then people take their fries and dip it into the cheese to finish the cheese. Like
Nice.
I just make a good grilled cheese. I don't. It's. I don't know.
I tried.
It's my superpower.
It was actually on Saturday morning. I made one mayo on the outside. Somebody had told me that help like something about like the way that the fat in the mayo congeals is better than butter or can be better than butter. It was delicious.
It makes it a lot softer though, right? Like it's a little. It makes it, and it'll like push down. And
Yep.
I even have this OCD thing where like I won't cut a grilled cheese with a chef knife. I cut it with a serrated knife to
Yep.
start the edge. so that
Hmm.
it doesn't push down the sandwich. Because if you push it down, it looks like garbage.
Yeah,
So I
it's
want it
like
to
all
look
pinched
fluffy and
up in the
big.
middle. Yeah.
Exactly. I know that. I know that sounds stupid, but like if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah, you gotta have principles about your grilled cheese making, just in
Yeah.
general, and especially if it's your profession and people are coming from like towns away.
Yeah. It's
Cool,
crazy, man.
cool. Okay, so um, you introduced, like, you went on to Reddit when you were coming to this point in your life, and you wanted to be like, okay, I wanted to help, or I would like to provide some help and advice to people who were in my position years ago, so that they could like start thinking about the future rather than like how whatever dumb way they're going to spend their money, which is good money that they're making. So what? So I've got the stats pulled up here. Like, what? Can you tell me a little bit more about like how you posed the questions on Reddit?
Yeah.
Did you like make like a Google form or something, or were people just responding?
No, Reddit actually has a poll option.
Oh, okay,
Uh, and so you're kind of limited by the system. So the max you can do is six choices.
okay.
So I would try and do my best. I could probably give examples of uh, they're simple form questions.
And then we can. Is the post still live on Reddit?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could
they're
just like
yeah they're
link
all
to it.
yeah. So when you put up a post, you can do it a poll. You can do it for 3 to 7 days, and just for in the interest of we all worked weird hours, I would always have a poll up for a week.
Yeah,
And the bartender forum has like I think it's got like 1 million people. Like it's a huge forum. So you can get all kinds of garbage. You can get all kinds of great information. People that are sharing wonderful cocktails. People that are angry at their bosses. You get what you want out of it, which could be
sure.
garbage or it could be really useful information.
Yeah.
So, as an example, like one of the questions I asked that it got 300 and something votes back, whatever. How much do you make an hour? And I just gave five options, so it was under $10 an hour, which sounds crazy if you're a bartender, but you got to remember like there's a lot of people that are answering in Europe or
Oh
in
yeah.
maybe third world countries where the purchasing parity is a lot lower and their income's less. Um, then the next group was $11 to $20 an hour, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and then 40 plus. So it was
Yep.
I try and hit as much of the strata as I can in the limits of this system. And oddly
Yeah.
enough, it's a bell curve when you talk about something like that. $10 an hour, $20, $30, $40, $50. So there's the large majority at that time I think was people were the 90 respondents were like I make between $21 and $30 an hour. So the
Okay.
bell curve definitely skewed more towards the $50 realm than the $10 realm. And I also feel like a lot of the $10 realm was I was just in Montana where I think the minimum wage is like $7 an hour. Like I don't
Right.
think it's where I am right now as a bartender. The minimum wage is 10.95 an hour, but minimum wage if you're not in the service industry is like 15.25.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're gonna
I
have
make a
those
lot.
variations, but
I make a lot on credit cards, and I make a lot on in cash too. And whether or not people want to answer honestly are also limited to the system by that. Like all all data mining is based on whether or not your audience is even honest with you.
totally. I mean, we can see that problem in all the polling in the last couple presidential elections. Like the most
Absolute,
sophisticated
absolutely.
shit out there, and Nate
Even
Silver could not get it figured out. Hillary Clinton was
yeah,
gonna win for sure, you know.
yeah. By and large, every poll you look at, it's plus or minus 4 percentage points, 5 percentage
Yeah,
points. So if you're wrong by 4% here and 4% there, that means you were off by 8%. Like if you go to the extremes, that's a big eight. If I had an 8% increase in my income, I would notice that. Like that's a
totally.
lot of money.
That-
Like,
right.
so again,
Okay,
limited by the
so
system.
33 bucks an hour was like the mean.
Yeah, that because I weighted, I used just a simple formula to weight it, and it tended to be $33 an hour with the average bartender working four or more shifts a week, and I predicated that discussion with a shift was a minimum of 6 hours
Okay. Yeah.
because I know like a lot of people don't work like real 8 hour bartending shifts, but depending on where you are, you also don't get a lunch, so
Yeah.
it's not like a real job where you 4 hours, half an hour break, 3.5 hours. So I felt like a good number. And again, I just plucked it out of the air. I was like, minimum 6 hours. I said, if your shift starts at 7, you're done at 1. If your shift starts at 12, you're done at 6. Like that was just kind of where thought, my
Yeah.
headspace was at for that
Okay.
number.
And it's their only job. Was an interesting
That yeah,
finding.
that was a big one. That was something like 80% or 79% of people that responded said that bartending was their only job. And of the people that it was their only job, um, it was the same correlation. 80% of people only worked at one place,
Hmm.
and 20% worked at two or more. So, like in my case, I work at three different bars. I'm a super unique example. I'm not.
Right.
I'm more of like an independent contractor than an employee per se, because I
Right.
don't have a real full time position, which is beautiful. It allows me for a lot of flexibility,
Mhm.
but it's also not really beautiful because it doesn't allow you to solidify your core and have less variability. Like you're a little more. I'm a little more up in the air. If I have a bad week here and a bad week there and a bad week there, I don't make anything. Whereas if I only worked at the one place, I could plan my year out and probably be right within $200 of what I'm going to make every week.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, there's aberrations everywhere, but by and large, you probably know what you're going to make every week as a bartender within
Right.
reason, within 10%.
Yeah.
You could be. It's nice to be wrong and make a lot more, but sometimes
Totally.
you're wrong and make a lot less too.
Yeah, and, you can plan out like you've been doing this long enough. You know the weeks that are going to be like good weeks, or the seasons that are going to be good seasons. You know what I mean?
Generally, yes. I mean, most of the places I work at right now, we're just hitting our stride now that the average outside temperature, once it gets above 70, 75,
Hmm.
every place I work at has like an outside patio, and you can imagine that takes the business from, whatever, 40 to 50 seats inside to 70 to 100 depending on where I'm at.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it
yeah.
makes a
It's
makes a big
amazing seeing
difference.
these places that like not only just double in size, but like quadruple, or like there
Oh
are a
yeah.
few places on the lakes, like on the lakes here in town. It's just like the winter, it's kind of dead. And then all of a
And
sudden,
and are you a full-time bartender or are you
no,
also
I work for Beer Menus,
Okay. Oh,
and
okay.
we're the ones who do the newsletter.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah. So I was a bartender, off and on, like full time for a couple of years, and then during grad school, and then when I working in New York City, I was bartending too, like in addition.
Where'd you bartend in New York City?
It was St. Gambrinus in Brooklyn, right on
Oh, okay.
Atlantic Avenue. It was a beer, like I guess it's beer tending. Like we had wines and beers only there. It's not there anymore. Hops Hill moved into
Okay.
it, second location. So yeah, it was just down Atlantic from Barclays Center toward
Okay. Yep.
the
I know
water.
exactly where it is.
Yeah.
I just saw Iron Maiden last year at the Barclays Center.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Um, my boss is at Birdsall House, which is the bar that I work at for in Peekskill, the gastro pub. They we Our paychecks come from a bar in New York City called the Blind Tiger,
Oh yeah.
which
Okay.
the Blind Tiger was like the real craft beer bar that started, and they were there in like
Yeah.
'93, like when
Originals.
yeah
Super originals.
and the original location burned down, and then they moved to another place. So
Oh,
yeah, those are the guys that I work for. Like
interesting.
they know the Nevada reps personally, the Lagunita guys, like the dudes that really started it, and the Peekskill Brewery guys, which is down the street from me, who I don't work for, but I know personally. Their their brewmaster opened up a new place across the river a couple of years ago, which has become really popular. He was the guy who spearheaded Ithaca Flower Power, but he opened his own brewery, Industrial Arts.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, Chief. I've known Chief forever. He used to live
Okay.
in Cold Spring, and he used to drink in my bar. Like that's the small world stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've met him a couple of times just when I'd go, because I moved back to Madison like coming up on 6 years ago now. So I think industrial arts may have just started around that
yeah.
time, or like right after there. But
It was pre-COVID because
sure.
when we hit the COVID stride, they were shipping us cans every week at pretty heady discounts so that we could sell 6 packs and 4 packs. What is it? Jeff O'Neill? Is that his name? If I
That
remember
sounds
correctly.
really familiar.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's his name. But man, he was awesome, and
Yeah.
he was making magic in those cans. His beers are
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, primo.
Yeah. I love that stuff. been a while since I've had any. Haven't been, I came back from New York City. We were doing a work trip there, and I got back on like March 15th, 2020. It was just like
Oh God.
already, it was like getting on the plane, people were wiping everything down. LaGuardia was just kind of like a ghost town. It was
Yeah,
bizarre.
it was St. Patrick's Day, March 15th,
Right.
16th, 17th. Like, a couple municipalities, everybody pushed it a little bit, and we had just ordered at the one bar, we had ordered 200 pounds of corned beef in the hopes of sales. So
Nice.
we ended up, we had to sell it all to go. Like, people were coming in with masks, and it
Totally.
was that feels like it was 100 years ago. That doesn't feel
Totally,
like it.
man. It's
It
wild.
the whole world changed.
Yeah.
But
I remember
managed.
there was the neighborhood bar down the street. Um, during COVID, it was just like closed, like every place was. And there's this newspaper with the date just like laying in the window. And it was like the
Uh,
last time anyone was in there, and it was St. Patrick's Day.
uh,
March. It's just like walking by there a year later and it's still in the window. It's like, oh my God,
that's
what is going on?
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Heartbreak.
it was
Absolutely
such a bummer.
heartbreaking.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So 28 years old, average. Were you
28
surprised by
years.
that number?
I was really surprised. I've not dug too deep. I have not differentiated guys and girls, and I've
Uh,
actually gone out of my way in the things that I ask because I think as a gentleman, you probably know that it tends to be dominated by women behind the bar in the industry, um, depending on the owner's philosophical mindset.
mhm.
Uh, and then I'm not. It's not a statement against women as they are, but it seems to be at some point they just stop bartending.
Mhm.
And this is anecdotal. I think it's just because they have babies, and like that's what happens is women get to a point where they have a child, and then this lifestyle gets pretty difficult as a bartender when you have a young child at home.
Yeah,
And
what
I
are you going to be
so
getting back at 2 and your kid gets up at 5:30?
yeah,
Like that
so
doesn't work.
so if we look at it that way, it's like the average age is 28. Maybe that's the average age when of a very adept female bartender starts looking at starting a family, and that's kind of where the precipitous drop off comes off. I'd be interested to find out as you
Right.
got to the older age of bartenders if it was more men or women, but
Mhm.
I've kind of gone out of my way to not really. That seems like an issue that I don't need to know about, an issue that just asking too many questions that might make people
Not
give
want to
them an
answer.
off taste. Yeah, they might give them an off taste in their mouth, and
Right.
I'm not trying to make it, a men versus women thing. Like that's not the
Sure.
idea for me. It's just what for the core of the career. Like what is the best thing for you to do, or at least the not worse thing for you to do.
Right. Right.
Which by and large, it is, drink a little less, work out a little more, save more money than you are, and have a plan,
Yeah.
whatever that plan may be. Even if the plan is still be doing this in 10 years, great. But at least put yourself on the path that in 10 years, you don't have the same money in your bank account and the same mindset that you did 10 years ago.
Right. So
Be,
yeah,
you
okay.
know,
So the 10 years ago number, that relates to what I think was the most interesting stat you pulled, which is 40%
yeah,
of the bartenders who answered the question on Reddit said that they do still see themselves bartending in 10 years.
yeah. So that one was there were I only pulled the statistics that seemed pertinent for me. 0%, 50, because again, you're limited by the system. So my my percentages were 0, 25, 50, 75, and 100% chance that you'll be bartending in 10 years. And then there was uh, a big number, which is I just put question mark. I have no friggin' idea. And 18% of respondents said they had no idea.
Yeah.
So you've got 20, a full fifth of people that are like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So if you assume there's a full fifth that don't know what they're going to do, then I got 19.2% that said they're definitely going to be doing it, and 100% that, or 50% chance that they're going to do it, and 100% said that there's a 12% chance of doing it, and then we weight those out with the unknowns. That's where I
Yep.
came up with the 40% based on how many people responded. So it was a weighted. So it was a 40% chance at 28 years old that at 38 you're still going to be bartending. It
Yeah,
was a
I mean, you expected that number to be lower, right?
I expected to be way lower. I
Yeah.
expected people who were, let's just say the average bartender, I'm only going to do this 5 years, 6 years until I finish my degree.
Right.
So
Or
if
I'm just like trying to get through the summer here, or like whatever it
I,
is.
I, I think a lot of people regard the career as a stepping stone to something better. Um, so if we're thinking that the stepping stone to something better is something like getting a graduate degree or getting more professional or going to law school or I don't know, becoming like the best badminton player, whatever your stepping stone is, you figure that a life change is about 7 years, is they or the 7 year itch, then in 10 years, why would you not think you're going to be somewhere else?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
eh, so to see 40%, I was like, wow, I guess. And if I look at it and I got friends that are 25, 26 right now that have already been bartending. They started when they were 21,
Mhm.
and they've had a buddy who just had his 26th birthday. Another one who I work with who's he started bartending late 5 years ago. He's 34 now, but he was a plumber before that, and I
Mhm.
see him in 5 years still doing that. So 10 years is a big chunk of life if you're talking about you only got like 60 years in the middle where you know what's going on. The first 10 you're an idiot, and the last